The cliche is clicheing. The two greatest words in all of sports. Enter Zaza Pachulia. Game 7! The first time in 9 years. A series that is fitting of maybe the best finals of our lifetime. My lifetime is spanned for 30 years in a couple weeks. I will have been on this planet for 30 times around the sun. And in this time frame, I can't think of a series that has been. It is tough to conjure whatever the word is, the feeling and the emotion I have for what this series has given me. We have missed you the last few games. I'm sorry. We want to thank everybody who's hanging with us tonight, and should be a fun ride. A little bit busy last Friday and then Monday as well. So uh, we're glad that you are here with us tonight. And I can't even front, man. I am stunned. I am stunned. Game 4 was everything that I thought it would be and more. And Oklahoma City had the historic answer that I thought they could. Game 5, the Pacers at points, it felt like they kind of had Oklahoma City by the balls, but they let them off the hook in the fourth quarter. Jalen Williams was incredible. Shea hit some big shots. And tonight, just when you think everything is done, when you think the Pacers were finally out of bullets, they saved up their biggest one of all. And for the first time all season, maybe we saw this Oklahoma City team feel that the moment was too big for them. And we'll talk about that throughout the night here. But this young team, for the first time ever, had a chance to walk out as champions, and they laid an egg. They started the game really well, but Indiana, the unkillable zombies that they are, what a performance, what a series. This series has been everything. I thought it would end tonight from the prediction that I made, and even just the feeling, especially with the Halliburton injury, and the Pacers just continue to they continue to shock me. I'm someone who feel like I have my hand on the pulse in some way, shape, or form. But even tonight, man, I am flummoxed by the fact that this Pacers team is like they are, you know, they are they have forced the game 7. They are, I, you know, they dominated tonight. Um, an awesome series, an awesome playoffs, and Sunday is going to be magical. Okay. Like the video if you like the video, please. We really appreciate that. Share as well. We really appreciate that. All that good stuff. Let's talk about how we got here tonight. I thought, obviously, with the biggest thing at the beginning here is the Halliburton injury. Um, I thought that was the biggest swing when they were talking about the fact that he had some sort of grade, level, like a grade 2 or something calf strain. I thought, okay, they could compete, but I felt like they would be punchy, but I just didn't think they would have enough juice tonight. And Halliburton, honestly, I thought was the best player in the game. It's either him, Siakam, or McConnell. And I thought all three of those guys were spectacular. And this game, it's weird. So I love the NBA Finals because of what it means when the pressure gets to certain teams, and it's unlike like football. In other sports, you feel the pressure, right? In football, there's pressure, right? And obviously, it's felt by certain players in certain moments. In baseball, obviously, the pitch. You got to make the pitch. You're at the biggest at bat in the game, all that stuff. But in the NBA Finals, man, I don't know what it is, but it's just different when everyone on the floor can feel the moment, or one team can feel it more than the other. And I'm not saying Oklahoma City succumbed to that tonight, knowing that this young team was literally inches. They were on the doorstep of a championship. I don't know if that was the case. Maybe a little bit. But they had Indiana on the ropes 4 minutes into this game. It was 10-2. The Pacers called timeout. Nothing is working. Halliburton can't hit a shot. the Pacers cannot hit anything. They don't hit a shot from the field for the first 4 minutes of the game. Pacers call timeout, and then all of a sudden they just get going. They have a huge answer. Nembhard hits a couple threes that stem the tide. Halliburton finally got one to go. Obi Toppin too hit a couple big shots. TJ McConnell, in that the middle stage of that first half, the middle 12 minutes, he was sensational. He was the most impactful guy on the floor in that stretch. Because after that, Halliburton came in and just dominated the final 4 minutes of the first half. But McConnell played an 11-minute stretch in the first half and was sensational. TJ McConnell, he was awesome in Game 5. I'm not saying that him not playing in the fourth quarter is why Indiana lost, because Indiana dug themselves a hole and they had to get out of it. But, if McConnell plays maybe more in the fourth quarter on Monday, are the Pacers champs right now? I know they're not going to be thinking that at all. But regardless, it's something that I definitely thought of, and that's why I felt really bad for them, because I did think that after Game 5, I know we haven't spoke since last week, I did feel like that's a weird little glare. I did feel okay. I did feel like Indiana might have missed their chance. Obviously they did it in Game 4. They clearly missed, at the time I thought, missed their chance. They had multiple chances to go up. At the end of the third quarter in Game 4, they had multiple chances to go up 12 to 15 points, maybe more, and they missed a bunch of free throws. And then in the fourth quarter, the offense just died, and Shea went off. And in Game 5, they got within 2, and then Nembhard had a bad stretch. Halliburton obviously didn't play well that whole game, but he was clearly injured. And I'm not making that as an excuse; it's just the fact. And then, of course, Shea and J-Dub were sensational in both, in the fourth quarter of Game 4, and then the entirety of Game 5, and tonight. And then so McConnell has the run he has in the second, and Carlisle keeps him out there. McConnell's just driving by everybody. Nobody can guard him. He's hitting tough shots. He's distributing the ball. He's getting rebounds. Obi Toppin. It's crazy how in the first 3 minutes of Obi Toppin in this series, I thought he would be unplayable, and he's been maybe the Pacers' 5th or 6th best player. If Halliburton and Siakam are the 2 best players for the Pacers in this series, which I think they have been, even though Halliburton has been very up and down, McConnell's probably been their 3rd. And then it's like Mathurin, Toppin, Nembhard. Nembhard probably leading that pack, but Toppin's in the top 6, right? And I just the fact that those, Toppin shot making, I thought Nembhard tonight was fantastic. We'll talk about him in a moment here, but McConnell, man, 14 points, 5 assists, 10 points, 3 assists. No, that's Neesmith. I'm an idiot. Here we go. TJ McConnell, 12 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists. He was awesome. And that 12-minute stretch in the middle of the first half got them the lead. It got them a lead. There was a moment there where I felt, so it's, again, these swings in these games. Oklahoma City goes up 10-2 early, and it all of a sudden feels like, all right, well, Indiana, they're going to tap out. And maybe Oklahoma City thought that they were going to tap out, because the Indiana responded like they have every night in this playoff. And even in this series, outside of Game 2. So the only blowout before tonight was Game 2. Game 5, you could say, was a blowout, but Oklahoma City got up, and then Indiana just stormed back and made it. It was a 2-point game with 9 minutes to go. And then Jada went crazy down the stretch, and they won by 15 or 17 or whatever it was. But the thing I'm saying, Indiana did not tap out. Maybe Oklahoma City thought they were going to tap out there. I don't know. But Indiana responds. But then again, it felt a little bit like it did in Game 4. Indiana's up 7 or 8. I think they got it to 10, 26-16. But at the end of the first quarter, what was it? At the end of the first quarter, it was 5 or 3? 3-point game. It's 28-25. And then in the end of the first quarter and beginning of the second quarter, Shea and J-Dub are just getting after it. And they're hitting the 1990s mid-range bag on everybody. It's just tough bucket after tough bucket that would make Uncle Drew proud out there giving guys the business. And I thought for a moment there, I think they cut it to 33-32. And I was like, man, Indiana missed their opportunity again. And then all of a sudden, McConnell went crazy again. That stretch, they ended up getting the lead back to 10. And the end of the first half, when Halliburton came back in, was electric. Defensively, they were getting steals and getting out and running. They were hitting jump shots, and it was electric. McConnell hitting a jumper. So it's 34-33. Jalen Williams hits 2 free throws. McConnell hits a pull-up jumper. Tyrese Halliburton then hits a 3. Tony Bradley put back off of a missed shot from McConnell. 41-33. Let's see here. Bradley then goes to the line, hits 2 free throw, or he splits a pair. And then Chet, I'm not calling this the moment of the game, but this is where the game swung. So it's 42-33. And Oklahoma City is, they're having some brutal offense. Shea wasn't good tonight. I think that he had that little flurry in the end of the first quarter, early in the second quarter. Outside of that, he was pretty bad. I thought Jada was pretty good, all things considered. I thought that the moment of the game where this thing really got away, it was a bad Chet Holmgren game. And they had a moment where they hit Hartenstein on Hartenstein, however you pronounce it, Hartenstein on the short roll. He throws a little hook lob to Chet, and Chet just misses the dunk. And Chet also got 2 3-pointers blocked in the second quarter. It was bad, a bad stretch. It was a bad Chet Holmgren game. But he misses that dunk, and then Obi Toppin on the other, Aaron Nesmith on the other end hits a 3. When you miss a layup or a dunk, you're going to give up a 3 on the other end. Them's the rules. Shout out to Zanny Peel. And that made it a 12-point game, and from that point on, it just seemed like the Thunder couldn't grab the rope again. Nesmith made another 3-pointer. It was off. Oh, my God, this was sick. It was off of that play where Isaiah Joe lost it. He tried to save it. Halliburton came out of nowhere to save it, threw it to he saved it. They threw it back to him. He got it to Siakam. Siakam to Nesmith in the corner. He hit the 3. That put him up 13. Nesmith then hit a pull-up jumper for an and one. Nembhard hit they start trading some baskets. Tyrese makes a 28-footer. That put him up 17. Let's see. They go up 18 off of a little give and go. And then the play of the night it's 60-42. Halliburton just with an insane steal, play recognition 99. And he gets the steal and then throws one of those no-look spinning passes to Pascal Siakam. And Siakam, who I thought Siakam has been superb in this series. I thought Game 4 was a masterpiece from him. I think Game 5 he was even better. And then tonight he was pretty good as well. Pascal Siakam just takes off and baptizes Jalen Williams. They go up 20. Siakam hits a turnaround jumper to end the third quarter or end the second quarter, and that was pretty much all she wrote. This has been a fascinating series. It has been fascinating to see the ebbs and flows. This has been the most we have seen blow for counter blow in the finals in God knows how long. Easily since Bucks Suns 2021. First 7-game series since 2016, which was the Cavs coming back from down 3-1. And even I think Game 7 is an all-timer, but I think that series overall is overrated because all the games are blowouts, really. That 2021 finals will always have a special place in my heart. It was one of my favorite finals ever, and even this, I think, is topping it. And that just feels so long ago. Celtics Warriors was okay. I just despise the Warriors, I guess, so call me a hater. But regardless, what these two teams have done in this game, or what these two teams have done in this series, again, like it has been a while since we have seen the teams go blow for blow in the finals. Like the last 2 years, when it was Warriors Celtics, once the Warriors had won Game 4, it was over. And again, that was Steph Curry's magnum opus, but regardless, Game 5, and then in the next year, Miami, Denver, and then last year with Boston, Dallas. I mean, it was pretty much domination. My guy Nick Bull in the comments here saying finals MVP for each team thus far. I got to go Pascal, Siakam, and Jalen Williams. I think it's honestly, oh, man, it's Shea for Oklahoma City. Even though he was pretty brutal tonight, his first 2 games he was incredible, and then Game 4, like if he doesn't go off like he did in Game 4, they're down 3-1, and the series ends tonight. So I think if the Thunder win Game 7, it'll be Shea, and it should be. And then that's what's saying Jalen Williams. There was moments where I thought J-Dub, like, he has clearly kind of crossed the threshold. Now, famous last words here, but he's crossed the threshold of like the bad playoff games, because there were stretches up until that Game 7 against Denver where he just had every other night he had some pretty stinky games, and he really hasn't had one since Game 6 against Denver. And who knows, maybe Sunday will be I said earlier in the series, we haven't gotten the 2 for 19 Jalen Williams game yet, so maybe that's going to be Sunday. I don't know. Last time they were in a Game 7 against Denver, he was awesome. I think Shea's the finals MVP for Oklahoma City. Man, I personally think it should be Halliburton because he's been their best player, but statistically, it will not look nice for him. I thought he was their best player tonight. Again, the stats are never going to show it for him. That's the thing people got to get. People have to get over. You could make the case for Siakam though. I thought Siakam in Game 4. I thought Siakam in Game 4 and 5, even though they were both losses, was brilliant, like absolutely brilliant. Siakam, Nick also said Siakam caught a body tonight. That was one of the coolest plays I've seen in a while, man. The steal, the pass. Shout out to Jalen Williams for trying to go up and contest that puppy. But man, he got put on. Where's my Kodak machine? Or my poster machine? Your Kodak moment. That's what it was. So man, this Pacers team, man. The will that they have to continue to fight. And this is the thing that I love the most about the finals is just Game 7 might be the most ugliest, prettiest thing you've ever seen in your life. It's going to be that girl in high school that, you know what, she might not have been pretty, but she was a great hang. And we're going to fall in love with her for it. It's going to be the quirky girl who likes My Chemical Romance and maybe or she listens to way too much K-pop. But you know what? Her smile is pretty, and she is into the same cartoons that you're into. You know what I mean? You're not gonna blow people away at the Met Gala, but I think Sunday's game is gonna be one of those games. Maybe not 2010 Boston LA Game 7 bad. If you're wondering what I mean, go watch. Just go look at the box score for that game. It is a stinky, stinky game. But it was Game 7, so we're all here for it being like 59-55 with 6 minutes to go. Oklahoma City now has to live with the fact that I'm not saying let one get away tonight, but if they would have pressed just a little bit harder in the first 6 minutes, does Indiana break? Does Indiana find a second win? Because my buddy Blake was saying they weathered the storm. And they did weather the storm because Indiana got up 8 or 10 in the first quarter, and then they cut it to 3. And even I thought, like, shit, man. Indiana blew their chance again. They should have been up 12 at the end of the first quarter, but they weren't, just like Game 4. But instead, Indiana had that huge run in the second quarter. But that's the thing, like, Oklahoma City was up 8, 4 minutes into the game. It took that long for Indiana to make a shot. So that's what, like, I don't think entirely they did, but there's a world that exists where Oklahoma City missed their chance tonight. If they press a little harder, if they press a little bit harder, does Indiana tap out? Now, Indiana is the most untap-outable team I've ever, like, one of the most in NBA. Like, that's the thing about recent NBA basketball in the last, like, decade or so, is there's so many times where we'll see these teams just fold. And that's the thing I've loved the most about this playoffs, this finals, is how, you know, I thought in the second half, I was waiting for Oklahoma City to kind of find their game and chip into the lead, but Indiana just was relentless. So if the game gets tight on Sunday, you know, who knows, man? Who knows? It's It's so fascinating. God, I can't wait. Nick says here, no dog in the fight. Hopefully the refs stay out of the decision. Game 7, 2 best words in sports. Absolutely. That's the thing too, man. The refs have been so weird in this series because they'll let so much go and then they just will decide to start calling all the weird stuff. It gets on my nerves. It chaps my ass. That's what it does. Let's see. I don't know if I'm going to have a prediction for game 7. I'm just going to sit back and enjoy it. But here are the things that I expect are the nuances of it, right? Indiana has to. It's not a non-negotiable, but they have to defend like they did tonight, man. I thought in the second quarter they made a much more concerted effort to basically just throw Nick Bull will like this reference. They threw tables, ladders, chairs, even stairs at Shea and Jalen Williams. I thought anytime those two guys got downhill, the Pacers just said, we're going to throw everybody we have at them, and we are going to force you to throw it out to Lou Dort or throw it to Alex Caruso or throw it to Chet Holmgren and his release that takes a month and a half to get out of his hands from 3. I thought even though Chet and Shea still throughout the night would have, they would have shots that would go in, there was that mini surge when they cut it back down to 1 early in the second quarter where it was all Shea. I mean, I think they had 33 points. Jalen and Shea had, I think, 26 of that. At one point, they had like 26 of 36 points or something like that for the Thunder. But it was all Shea and J-Dub just kind of attacking their matchups. And then after that little stretch from the middle of the second quarter onward, Oklahoma City, I thought Indiana did a great job of just kind of forcing the ball out of their hands. And it's been weird, these games. I wish I would have to like really watch some tape on it. But it's been fascinating at how Indiana has not just defended the 3-point line in these games, but they've made Oklahoma City like not even take 3-pointers in some of these games. Now, I do think that there were moments that some guys are trying to pass up looks, maybe. I'm not sure, but man, Indiana's defense, when it's flying around, is pretty special. And I thought that Halliburton, especially tonight, him and Nembhard really were good on the defensive end. And shout out to Andrew Nembhard. I thought in game 5, he was really bad. I thought that Indiana really had a chance. Like, if I was a Pacers fan, I would have been pulling my hair out because even in a game where Tyrese Halliburton was literally a persona non grata, the Thunder had a chance in game 5 to steal it. The Pacers did because Oklahoma City, I wouldn't say fell asleep at the wheel, but TJ McConnell obviously just went bananas in the third. And again, it was a 2-point game with 9 minutes left. And then Andrew Nembhard just decided to become a double agent. He was terrible in game 5, and Shea barbecued him, and they got him in mismatches with J-Dub. It was bad. But I thought tonight he hit those couple shots early. I think he had 8 points in a row in the first quarter, which those 8 points got the Pacers, back into the game. I thought Nembhard tonight was great. I thought that that's the thing about this Pacers team, and it kind of goes to what Nick Bull's saying here, talking about total team effort, and then makes a Dudley Boys reference. I totally agree. There were a lot of Dudleys. Shout out to Stu Dudley or whatever his name was. We were making jokes last time we hung out about all the different Dudleys and whatnot. The thing that the Pacers do, like, they had one guy have 20 points tonight, and at one point they were up 30. They have no problem for who gets it, who scores, who does their thing. One guy had 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys in double figures. And even Miles Turner, who was 1 for 9 tonight, I thought this was his best game of the series because I thought defensively he was spectacular. Nick says again here, Nembhard is my number 3 on the Pacers, and here's why. He plays his ass off on both ends of the floor and is very effective. In this series, he's probably been their 4th or 5th best guy, but yeah, he's their 3rd best player. behind Halliburton and Siakam, I would probably say. Eh, Neesmith, I don't know. Neesmith before this series, like people don't realize that Neesmith like really badly rolled his ankle. And I'm not making excuses, and he was good tonight. He had 10 points, but Neesmith in the Knicks series like brutally injured his ankle, and he's been playing pretty much on one wheel since like game 4 of the Knicks series. But regardless, yeah, when like Nembhard has done a phenomenal, even though Shea has had some really good moments, Nembhard has been able to defend him as well as anybody because he just stays in his ass like all the time. It's so hard for Shea to get rid of him, and he makes it very hard on Shea. And his on-ball defense is sensational. And his the thing here's another thing tonight that I love from Indiana, and they do this a lot too, but they definitely were doing it tonight clearly because Halliburton is hurt, right? I thought Halliburton played as good. I made the joke about him being on horse tranquilizer. I don't know what it was, man, but God, he looked good. But he's literally playing with an injury that you should sit out for 6 weeks with. He's playing with a strained calf, and that's nothing to mess with. And he was awesome. He absolutely slammed the door on the Thunder's face in the end of the first half. He dominated. And that's the thing I love about Halliburton is he can have 14 points and 5 rebounds, or he can have 14 and 5 and dominate. And I thought he dominated when he played. He didn't play, I think, really at all in the second half. But when he was out there in the first half, man, he dominated. It was awesome. But the thing that I love tonight, and it's what made Nembhard's game so good, and it was important that he was good, but they used Nembhard to alleviate Halliburton handling the basketball in the half court. Because that's the thing that really flipped game 4 on its head in the second half. And then in game 5, obviously Halliburton got the injury, but he was still kind of locked up, is that the Thunder pretty much put Lou Dort on him and said, don't let him dribble the ball past half court. And Lou Dort said, got you, fam. And hold my Canadian maple syrup. That's what Lou Dort said. And Dort shut him down in the end of game 4, and he was in him in game 5. And tonight, the Pacers did a phenomenal job of having Halliburton throw head-to-head passes when he would get the ball in the backcourt, but also he would play off ball, so he would be able to catch and attack off cuts, or he was catching and shooting from 3. And lo and behold, his jump shot finally went down tonight for the first time, literally pretty much all series. He finally was able to be consistent from the outside. And that was huge. He was hit 3 threes, and all of them were big. So I think that's going to be something in game 7, that they have to continue to press, is getting Oklahoma City. When they're able to get them switched into certain matchups, that's when they can really attack. They have been able to, like, obviously TJ McConnell has turned, he is a living, breathing paint touch. Whenever the Thunder, that's the biggest focus. When the Pacers can get a paint touch, that is a win on offense for them, and they're more than likely going to score. Not all the time, obviously, but I'm sure they have a pretty good rate as if when they touch the paint, what their scoring rate is when that happens, because the Thunder defense does such a good job of they make it tough for you to get downhill because of how long they are. They can switch with everybody. They have so many different bodies that they can throw at people. They don't have a bad defender on the roster. But when the Pacers are able to spread you out and get downhill, that is when their offense has been clicking. And they had Oklahoma City spinning in that second quarter, and it's what put the game away. The story here, Nick says, a story going into the finals of how the Pacers and Thunder are essentially the same team. It's just that Oklahoma City has sexy, shinier pieces. The Pacers are the working man's team. Total sellout defensive effort and scoring spread out over, let's see here if I can make, let's see, he says, spread out over 8-9 guys usually. Game 7 and Sunday loom on the horizon. It's going to be an amazing game. And Nick's completely right. The Pacers are never going to have the sexy pop-off stat games. Because they have so many different guys that get it in. Yeah, I really do hope, no matter what happens on Sunday, and obviously if it does end with Indiana winning, then of course they would earn the respect, but So many times we see efforts in the finals or a championship series if it's an underdog. Like at the end of the day, the Thunder were minus 750 to win the title when the series started. I picked them to win in 6. The series literally went beat for beat like I thought it would up until tonight. And even still, I am shocked about how Indiana has been able to rally, because there have been moments, even though I thought it would go 6 at least, that I've been stunned on how they've been able to get up off the mat. At the end of the day, man, both of these teams are awesome. And both of these teams have counter punches, and both of these teams on Sunday are going to bring it. For the Thunder, obviously they got to get Shea. They got to get Shea going. They got to get J-Dub going. The turnovers were huge tonight for them. Though when this was the best Indiana in this entire series was able to not just turn the Thunder over, but they used those turnovers to get out and run and get easy baskets. Really the first time all series that happened. And of course, when that happens, it turns into a blowout. The thing I love the most about the NBA playoffs, man, and especially the finals, is when you get into these Game 7 moments, who feels it, who's loose, who's not. Game 7 of the Nuggets series, the Thunder came out and they were tight. Daigneault was really kind of overcoaching in certain aspects. They were down 11 4 minutes in, and the fact that Denver just didn't have enough bodies really to keep them at bay. Oklahoma City, once they finally turned the corner, they just snowballed it. If Indiana can lean on them early, that building is going to be murmuring. Those players are going to get tight. The pressure is on you when you're playing at home in these Game 7s. When you're at home in a Game 7, and I'm not saying there's no pressure on Indiana. I'm not saying that at all. But Oklahoma City was 7.5 to 1 to win this series when it started. You can have your cliches of, man, they're a good team, wooda, all that jazz, blah, 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 in the press conferences and whatnot. I'm sure Oklahoma City thought they're probably thinking to themselves, like, God damn, will these guys just give up? Will they just stop? And Indiana's like, no. You can't kill me yet. They're the Indiana Pacers are the Captain America meme of I could do this all day. That is what they are. And I'm telling you, man, if Indiana can get now the problem for the Pacers outside of Game 4 really is they really have not been good in the first few minutes of these games. But if they can get out to a 4 to 6 to 8 point lead in the first couple minutes of Game 7, oh baby. I expect it's going to be tight. I expect it's going to be competitive. I don't expect anybody to shoot well. At the end of the day, I don't want to talk here like this is a Pacers podcast or, not talking about any possibilities for the Thunder to win, because there's a bunch of possibilities for the Thunder to win. They're the best team. They're going to be favored by probably 6-7 points on Sunday, and they have every right to be. Here is the thing. They're 7.5 point favorites on Sunday, and I can see it. I understand it. I don't think it's going to be that. I think it'll probably be closer, but who knows? Here's the thing at the end of the day that the Thunder can lean back on. When their defense is at its best, that is the ace, that is their trump card. It is the trump card of all trump cards in this playoffs, and that has been the trump card of the entire season, is that they truly have a historic level defense that if they just turn the water off in Indiana on Sunday, then it could be very well one-sided. But for Indiana, they have to bring what they did defensively tonight. Like, I think those timely stops, I think getting out and getting easy baskets, all those things are going to be what is important on Sunday, and I can't wait. I'm so excited to see how this game is navigated on Sunday, to see what certain guys, like who's going to be the unsung hero. Is Benedict Mathurin. He had a huge Game 3. Is Benedict Mathurin, I know on the road, so it'd be tough. Is he due for a 19, 20-point game? Aaron Wiggins, excuse me. Aaron Wiggins has had Aaron Wiggins has had a couple good games in this series, and they've both been at home. Could he have a huge game? Cason Wallace had a big game 5. Could he, who's going to be the unsung hero? Crazy that this is going to be only the 20th time in the history of the league that there's been a finals game 7. Wild, man. Cannot wait. And it's not even just the cliche of best words in sports, etc. It's that this series has truly delivered in every way possible. Blowouts tonight be damned. This was like to see that crowd be the way it was, the Pacers to answer the bell the way that they did. They were down 10-2 and they could have easily tapped out, and they said, we're not done fighting. They answered the bell. They came out of the corner. They lost the first round pretty bad. They got knocked down, almost finished. But they came out of the corner and they started throwing haymakers, and they started to connect, and then they knocked the Thunder out at the end of the first half. It was spectacular. I cannot wait for Sunday. We will be here to wrap it up. We will be here to talk about it no matter what happens. What a season. What a series. What a night tonight. And cannot wait to see you guys on Sunday for Game 7 of the NBA Finals. That'll do it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. Click like if you like this video. Click subscribe if you really liked it. Tell all your friends that Game 7 is Sunday. This has been the Educated Ignorance Podcast. If you ain't got your game, you best pass the sticks. Oh, baby. We'll see you on Sunday night, folks.